Hey, my name's Tony and I'm from the SUP Company, and today I'm going to tell you all about the Starboard 12'6" Touring in Lite Tech. The Starboard 12'6" Touring in Lite Tech. Well, what can I say? This board you will always find in our test center. And there is one reason for that simply, and that is because it is brilliant. It's incredibly popular, whether you're a seasoned paddler or simply someone who's been an all-rounder, or even if it is your first board and you're looking for a fast, efficient, stable tourer, then this board is it. It's long been in the Starboard lineup, and it's just will always be there, I believe, because it is that successful at what it does. A couple of refinements over the years, certainly a refinement in 2022. I'll run you through those points of difference. But it is just a superb bit of kit. And the reason why it always earn a place in our test center, and you have to bear in mind that while we have a huge range of boards available via our website, and we're more than happy to talk you through in store and so on as well, we are limited purely and simply, whether that be through financial limitations and just the sheer amount of volume and investment we make in making boards available for demo, or simply space, particularly with composite boards, it's space, then we have to be quite selective at the point. And that can be a combination of things, whether that's boards we like and that really stand out to us, or simply, boards that are going to have broad general appeal. And well, the Starboard 12'6" Touring ticks all of those boxes. It provides for us in the test center environment as well, just a really good baseline. So whether you're paddling a composite board, a touring board for the very first time, or you're a seasoned paddler and you're looking to have a solid baseline with which then to go on and try narrower boards of similar lengths, then the Starboard 12'6" Touring does that because the board is just so good underfoot. It just works for a really broad range of people in, not just flat water conditions. It will still perform in reasonable chop. And it's just a really good, almost workhorse of a board for us here at the test center. And yeah, we love it to bits. But look, let me run you through from the nose down to the tail as we do in all of our videos here at the SUP Company. The board itself in 2022 has seen a lot of refinement. So starting from the nose, very fine entry point that broadens out steadily, not too quickly, into filling out the board's overall width of 31 inches wide. And it does look like a wide board when you see its overall outline, but that's mainly because it is so wide in the center, yet narrow in both the nose and the tail. So it looks very full as a result. But importantly, the actual rails of the board in 2022, much more slab-sided, taking a lot of inspiration from the All-Star and also the outgoing Sprint as well. And that's providing one thing really, and that's a lot more stability, much more of a locked-in feel to the board overall, because the water ultimately is gripping the sides of the board and providing a lot of stability. Volume in the nose of the touring board is noticeable, particularly in the 12'6" version, runs a lot of volume, and that means that in small sea state and chop, this board still performs. It's not just kind of a one-trick flat water pony in that sense, and Starboard kind of cover that off with the waterline model in their range. The touring board, well, it just has a much broader operating sphere as a result. Coming back down though, the nose, this graphic, what's really nice with that is it's quite clean. This is the Lite Tech construction as well. The board being white also, if it picks up dings and marks over time, it's going to be very simple to repair and kind of keep on top of. But the graphic itself, very simple, nothing too shouty, nothing too offensive in some respects, as we do see on some touring boards. People get a little bit crazy with them from a design aspect. The nice thing I like about the board as well is the actual bungee carrying area is a deeper recess now. So kit again is in the board as opposed to on it, as we've seen in previous years. And it just means everything's a little bit more secure. Bungee net as well. Yeah, it's nice, it's generous, it does the job, and you're going to be able to get everything under there that you need. In 2022 as well, we're seeing that Starboard have actually introduced a self-regulating valve as well now into the Lite Tech construction. We haven't had that previously. So that means as the board does warm up in hotter climates, is you're not going to have any issues with build-up of gas from the EPS foam core that's within this board, and it's self-venting there via that Gore-Tex vent. Coming back down, the deck pad, really comfy underfoot, nice crocodile skin finish. Interestingly, with the deck in 2022, it's much more recessed than we've seen in previous years. So again, you're in the board as opposed to on it. It's certainly not a dugout by any means when compared to, say, a Sprint or an All-Star, but it does mean that you're lowering the paddler's center of gravity, making the board a little bit more stable overall. The carry handle in the board itself, yeah, it's really nice. Very simple, unobtrusive as well when underfoot, but it's nice and you can get down to your launching point, or even if you've got a portage from point to point, it's easy to manage the board. It is also worth noting that with the board being in this Lite Tech construction as well, as we often find with cheaper kind of price points, boards get heavier. That's not the case with the Starboard Lite Tech construction. I don't fully comprehend how they've done it in terms of building a board of this quality at this price point, but they do it year in, year out, and Lite Tech, yeah, it works. It certainly works in terms of your wallet. It's very easy on that. As you come back down the board though, you transition. I like how they've done that, as in previous years. This diamond cut crocodile skin finish in the deck pad. But in terms of the deck pad, this crocodile skin finish area, while there is no deck pad after this, ultimately, this is really well placed. If you simply stood abreast of the board here, then yeah, there's enough of the board out of the water and it will just spin and turn very, very quickly. You don't have to be like right down the back of the board to get this board to turn fast and perform. That's simply where you need to be. In Starboard, it just goes to show that they don't just throw deck pad on a board for the sake of it. They know what makes their boards and their designs work. The rest of the deck though, that basically transitions down to the tail. You end up with what they call their Star Touch finish, which is a bit textured. When it's wet, it's a little bit grippy underfoot. But I'd certainly suggest if you are going to spend more time down the back of the board, wetsuit boots might be a slightly better option because bare feet can still be a little bit slippery on this aft section here. But what's nice is, and you'll see the shaping, is there's a slight channel. I'm not sure if it will come out on camera, but there's a slight channel that runs down the center. So any water that gathers on the deck just simply flushes out the back of the board, and then this nice open tail kind of design. The tail itself though, you'll see that the rails remain quite high, lots and lots of volume. So if you do find your way down towards the back of the board, there's enough volume in it that you can sink the tail and it still remain really stable underfoot. So the underside of the Starboard 12'6" Touring Lite Tech really has an awful lot of shaping into it. That starts very quickly in the nose of the board. You see there's a slight negative to the actual overall nose. That's providing an awful lot of knife-like grip in the water, which is doing one thing, and that is tracking. This board tracks far, far better than its 31 inches of width would have you believe. And that is down in no small part to that nose. That nose then transitions to a very flat section. That provides an awful lot of lift, which means speed ultimately. But it then drops to a very deep single concave. And that runs all the way down the board, down to its US fin box. And that kind of deep single concave, well, that creates almost a catamaran-like feel to this board. So as you put this board over on its rail, whether through choice or simply being in a sea state and conditions that really see the board moving around underneath you, well, it does this weird thing. It just seems to kind of get more stable the more pressure you put on the rail. And that's simply just down to the amount of volume working in tandem with this chamfering on the rail that just, well, it gives you masses and masses of confidence. And that's, I think, really one of the key features in this board and just why it's so popular, and for us that we can really use it as a baseline for people then to go on and paddle other boards of varying widths. But so often people come back to this board in the first instance and choose to go ahead with it. The single concave though, that runs down to a US fin box, as I say, and the US fin box on the Starboard Touring Lite Techs They carry Starboard's long-standing Dolphin 22 fin, very bulbous fin, provides a lot of lateral stability and resistance, but also good weed clearance and decent tracking as well. So really, the Starboard 12'6" Touring, well, who's it for? Well, to be honest with you, a seasoned paddler would be really happy on this board for a day out of really comfortable cruising. It's fast, it's efficient, it's stable, but just as much so as for a novice paddleboarder. So even if this is your first paddleboard, your first foray into a composite board, or even your first touring board, the Starboard 12'6" Lite Tech is a board that would work for you and a really, really broad range of paddler out there. Thanks for watching our video. If you've got any questions about what you've seen, why not give us a call in the shop or head over to thesupco.com. To stay up to date though with all of our videos, well, make sure you subscribe up here and hit the notification bell. But to see our next video, well, take a look up here.